online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Wow, this is fun for the people to watch.
The disco lights.
And now we're going to talk about our totally depressing show. Welcome, you guys, to the recap for American Crime Season 2, Episode 10, the final episode of Season 2.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sad.
Me
I'm
too.
Johnny Manganello. You can find me at Johnny Mangs on Twitter and Instagram. Here is the rest of my beautiful panel.
Let's dance. My name is Erica Renee Davis. You can find me on Snapchat, Periscope, Instagram, and Twitter at Erica Renee D. What's up, David, honorary panelist?
What's up, guys? Nicholas Grava. You can follow me at Nicholas Grava, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that fun stuff.
I'm Erica Jaye Green. That's Jaye. You can find me on all social media at Erica Jaye Green.
Now, I want to talk to you guys throughout the entire episode tonight. If you're watching us live, make sure to hashtag ABTV American Crime on your tweets. And if you're not watching us live, still use that hashtag because we will, after the season's over, we like never look again, right? We like walk out the door.
Like, what's that hashtag?
We're like, what was American Crime? A blip in our past.
Never heard of it.
No, we will be looking at those tweets all week long, and maybe even longer.
Just for a week.
I'll be thinking about this show for a long time.
It will marinate in
Me
the back a
too.
little bit.
My mom was really upset. She said they need to let us know what's going to happen at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any closure. That's what my mom said.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to start, actually, because I think a lot of people feel that way about American Crime. My feeling is that's the point of the show, is that there's always going to be some gray. We're not going to get that black and white concrete answer. What did you guys think of the ending?
It frustrated me, but I do agree with if they gave it to me, maybe I wouldn't enjoy it as much. You know what I mean? I would have been like, oh, okay. Now it just leaves me with something else. Not common for shows to do. But again, they've always said it's not about the crime. It's more about the stuff behind the scenes. So maybe these final things. Yeah, I wish I knew. I still think I do know what happened. Do you guys feel like you pulled your own conclusion?
I mean, yeah, we all pulled our own conclusion, which again is the point of the writing. And I think it's still so funny when people get so mad at us about our opinions. I'm like, it's an opinion because the writers leave it open-ended for us so we can have our opinions. So no one's right, no one's wrong, except that my opinion is right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just thought it was interesting that they left it with the two stories still open, that each side at the end, like Eric was still like, well, I'm the victim, and Taylor was still like, I'm the victim. I was like, wow, that's interesting. But I don't know, I kind of felt like Eric felt guilty for the fact he went back to his destructive behavior, about to get in the car at the end. We jumped way to the end. But yeah, I just felt like he was a little bit guilty since he was going back to that destructive lifestyle.
So you think the person in the car was one of those people off the sex the
definitely.
website?
Sports car, opened up the passenger door to get in there, texting on that shady app.
Okay. Okay.
Wait a minute. Is your question, was the guy who pulled up the car and opened the door the same guy he was just texting?
No. Was it like a random guy from the sex
Was it a
app?
guy who was about
From
to go
the-
hook up with,
Yeah,
right?
a hookup guy.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
okay.
and then the question we're left with is, does he actually get in the car? Obviously.
sorry.
Sure.
I think he doesn't, but that's fine.
You think he doesn't get in the car?
Absolutely not.
I mean,
No, he doesn't. He
how
doesn't.
come he didn't get in trouble? Was he the only one that wasn't called back in? Because now that Taylor didn't want him to testify, he didn't have any repercussions. Everyone else
Right. I
seemed
mean,
to have...
he did make the phone, so it's not like he didn't do anything or participate in that. But I guess maybe from his statement, I don't know.
But
I thought he was going to have to testify just based off the scene we saw right before that where he's being pressured. You know, he wants to know, like, so basically what just happened is I was told to move to the left, but instead of just moving to the left, I, like, did this weird look at the camera and everything.
You made it more
Smooth.
like a possum.
No, because if I didn't say anything, people would be like, well, what just happened?
Take your mic with you.
You guys, the voice of God is in our ear and on the screen here. It's behind the scenes stuff. The people at home want to know
They
about the
love the
behind the scenes
BTS.
stuff.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
Don't remember.
You were
in the
saying
scene before.
Yes.
I mean, definitely, in my opinion, Eric is going to have to speak.
Or
right?
because he
maybe
was
not
taking a
because of the
plea deal, that's why then he didn't actually get...
But we don't know if he took a plea deal.
Well, because he was in the process of it. He came, like, there was not another... The reason they set that up was to do the plea deal.
Though.
What do you mean?
We don't know
Because
if he took
that's
the plea
why
deal.
we didn't see his answer.
Well, yeah, we never
I know
saw.
he didn't take it, but I'm saying at the event, like, they had said that we're gonna make a deal. That's what is gonna be happening. That's why he wasn't at
I see what
court
you're
to
saying.
testify.
So let's say he says no.
Okay.
Right, then they'll
Then Eric will
redo
come
it.
back.
Yeah, exactly. But the reason he wasn't in court that
But
day is because they were expecting.
why was Becca handcuffed
she's
then?
all the
Because
drugs.
Becca's a drug
She
dealer.
a shady.
Right, I'm not discrediting that. What I'm saying is, why did Eric get to go have sex off the app and not have to be in
Because
court?
he didn't sell drugs. Like the other
Yeah.
kids that jumped him, I don't think were there either.
Okay, this is some legal mumbo jumbo that I don't understand. Let's dive into the start of the episode and work our way back to what we were just talking about, which is the ending of the season. Dan kicks off the episode. Becca is suspended for selling drugs, and Becca is questioned about selling drugs. Now, this is really interesting because this is an example of her doing something that in the moment, I was like, oh, nothing. I mean, something bad might happen, but she's not doing anything wrong besides selling drugs.
Yeah.
Wait,
what?
hang on. She's doing something wrong in selling
get what you're
drugs,
saying,
but it's not going to lead her to jail or trouble.
Yeah.
And something happened that I totally didn't expect, which is her mom went up to Anne and said, yo, my daughter did this.
Okay, I was extremely shocked to see that, and then in a way, I almost got it in the after when she basically told, like, I tried to level mother to mother and understand that your kid, you don't want that to happen to another kid. Like, I get it in a weird way. At first I was like, are you fucking crazy? Like, loyalty, what are you doing?
I love how you edited the F-bomb the same way
Just like,
American Crime
Yeah,
edits.
I like to,
It's rubbing off on you.
I'm on type. But I don't know, it just, I got it at the end, but still frustrating, but I get what she was trying to, just didn't.
I still think it was really silly. I think that was silly from a legal standpoint. I think it was also reckless from a legal standpoint for them to have such a lengthy conversation with the detective without a lawyer present.
Yes.
And so, yes, Steph was trying to level mother to mother, but you just put your kid on Front Street without a legal counsel, like, in your corner. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And also, like, why would Anne have any sympathy or empathy for Steph when her kid killed a child and was getting ready to go, like, what are you thinking?
Totally. That was so tone deaf of her to come up and say, hey, can you help out my daughter? Like, no, bitch, my son actually needs the help, so you can go away.
Yeah.
Take a seat.
But here's my thing with in these scenarios with people that are selling drugs to someone and then someone does it, I didn't feel she pushed the drugs on him. So if I'm in Anne's shoes, I could almost be persuaded to understand that it was my son's choice to text her, to get the drugs, to buy the drugs, to take the drugs.
That's not what Anne's thinking. Come on.
No, I understand that, but couldn't you
looking
see
for
it from
someone
that
to take the
perspective?
blame.
Like, yes, she did sell them, but she didn't push them on this kid.
I understand the difference. I definitely do.
Yeah, she wasn't like slipping them at the
sought
party.
them out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I think she should be more into the defense. I mean, I'm sure in court that doesn't matter at all.
Exactly.
But to me, I feel like that's a big difference.
But what are we doing here? I mean, are we trying to weigh the blame? Like, that's
Yes.
the point of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, we're
right?
trying to
I
weigh the
think that
blame.
nobody is innocent and no...
What?
Bye, guys.
That happened to James Lott Jr. recently on the show.
I don't know what happened.
Am I okay?
He sunk in his chair for your audio
seat just went down.
listeners.
Oh yeah, for those of you just listening, I sunk down and it was hysterical. The people at home, they are cracking up.
They,
Like I
they,
am.
hate, they hate us right now. Hey, guys.
Get
Do they?
serious.
Are we getting hate?
they're
I don't know.
saying
I don't
get
know. But they
serious.
probably hate us.
No,
It's
they're
okay.
not. Oh my gosh, calm
You
down,
get
John.
serious. You know who is not saying mean things?
Who?
Erin, because she's awesome.
She's always awesome.
Aaron.
She always.
Aaron.
Aaron!
You know Erin on Twitter.
Oh,
Aaron,
Aaron,
get with-
Aaron,
thank
Aaron. Oh,
you.
hey, Aaron. Yes, Aaron. I drew a blank. Hey, Aaron and David.
And David.
David. Oh,
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Jinx.
You guys, listen. We are sad to go.
We
I
are.
think that we're just having like...
I mean, there's a lot because we're trying to
silly day.
recap this one episode, but really it's a recap.
whole
It's a whole
season.
season we have feelings for and things about, so it's tough. That's just an excuse to help everyone.
It is. Listen, Dan, I'm still proud of Dan. I said this a couple weeks ago. I think that Dan's balls are getting bigger and bigger by each commercial break.
His balls. They're as big as the basketballs these days.
They
Could you
are.
imagine?
Oh my gosh.
There's like a disease that does that.
There is.
Yeah.
No.
It's like elephantitis.
Really? Y'all are still on Dan's side.
Anyways.
I am.
Really?
I'm on Dan's
If he
side.
came out in the beginning,
Of his
not
balls.
size, not the size.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
No, but I'm saying if he, I just don't understand like where these parents draw the line of right and wrong. Why would you not have thought this wouldn't have came out? Like
the drugs or
the whole drug thing with Rebecca. He thought that it would have been swept under the rug during the whole. That to me is such stupidity.
See, I think he knew. I think he knew that it was going to come out, right?
Well, no, because if he knew it was going to come out,
why not?
Why didn't he want to be the one to say it in the first place?
And that would have
Wouldn't
helped
that make him
Rebecca
look better?
too.
Yeah, but if the hacking,
if she would have came out, hey, I did sell him these drugs. I'm not, I'm owning up to responsibility. I think it would have helped her in court more than like, oh, I didn't say anything. I think so. I mean, still she's going to jail.
Yeah.
But I think it would have helped.
But
her.
I get it. If the hackers didn't, so when Sebastian lost control of the hacking and other hackers started getting in here, that's the only reason they came out. He was not targeting those text messages, I don't think. When I was confused about what info he was leaking and what info
in the dark comes out to the light. I'm a huge believer.
And especially in a case like this, we were gonna find, or the court was gonna find out, that Becca was selling the drugs.
Of course,
no
Yes.
But in real life, well, I'll say in real life, but when you're not in high school, let's say that, I don't know, somebody walking down the street is on drugs and then he commits a criminal act. That drug dealer, if they're of age, is not gonna get in trouble for selling the drugs. So think of how many times
they wouldn't know. Most of the times they don't even know the drug dealer's name.
Yeah. So
but Becca had text messages.
Yeah, Becca just got caught up in this particular.
But
and
let me
she's
ask
high
you
school
this then:
age.
would the murder have happened had Taylor not taken drugs?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think
he had the
blame
gun.
the
I don't know.
Before he took the drugs.
I'm not blaming the murder on the drugs. I'm saying that perhaps the murder wouldn't had happened.
He would
without
not have
the
had. He
drugs.
wouldn't have had the gall to
Right.
go.
The murderer is the murderer. Taylor did it, no question. Yeah. But I don't think he would have done it had he not been on drugs.
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that it's the person who sold him the drugs' fault.
Yeah.
Is it the gun that gave him the power, or the drugs that gave him the power?
I think it's the gun.
Okay.
That's why I think that's why there was such relevancy to the pictures hanging up in his room, because he was already thinking violence, and I think Anne said something
Mentioned
to that.
it.
She did.
She said something to that degree, saying you were already going down that destructive path of violence.
The
and
weird
stuff like
samurai
that.
poster that he got.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's.
So he was already thinking of doing it. The drugs just kind of, chilled him out. Let me go do this, handle my business, and not really give a fuck about it. Not that I know.
I mean, also when he was on drugs, that is when he made his kill list. So that is when he sort of had his little whatever moment.
You gotta keep in mind though, he wasn't just on weed. He wasn't just on weed. He was on Oxycontin.
Yeah, true.
So those are two different drugs.
Does Oxycontin make you aggressive though?
Let me tell you what happened when I was on Oxycontin after my shoulder surgery.
What happened?
I woke up in the middle of the night and was convinced my mother was trying to kill me. And I was in a pool of sweat.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was like,
wow.
I didn't kill anybody, of course, but
I was knocking on wood.
I mean,
knocking on wood.
I don't know. It's good that you didn't kill anyone.
That matters now. That actually, I didn't know what Oxycontin, what the effects were, but
I was like, my mom was trying to kill me, and I gotta get out of my house.
How long did it take you to come to?
I panicked, and I had I was having like a panic attack, and it was the middle of the night, and I was like half asleep, but I remember it, and I probably took 5 minutes of just to sit and take some deep breaths, and then I went back to bed.
So it wasn't you weren't up all night like scratching at the walls like going crazy.
No, but before I went to bed, I thought I cried because I realized that Anderson Cooper and I were never going to marry each other. And
get out of here.
Wait a second.
Quite the roundabout.
That's what we all do when we find out that we can't marry Anderson Cooper.
I did. I remember thinking, I was like, I was about to go to sleep, and I was trying to tweet at Anderson Cooper to get his attention, which I do often. Still haven't heard back, but that's okay. And
I'm sure he's seen it.
Everybody at home can help me out. What? Go talk to somebody? Yes. I'm talking to thousands of fans.
I think there's someone else out there.
And then I started bawling because I was like, he is never going to love me. He doesn't even know my name.
And that was a side effect of the Oxycontin, you think?
Well, I've never cried over Anderson Cooper before.
Okay,
so hyper emotional.
So Taylor became
Okay.
I mean, I loved the conversation about guilt when Anne was in jail and visiting him and asking him, well, do you feel guilty and this and that? And he said, you know what? When I actually did it, that was the first time I didn't feel like the victim.
A victim.
Yeah, he did say that.
That was
really
huge. I was like, wow, okay. And that's also the reason he wanted at the time to take the plea deal, because he didn't want to feel like a victim again. I mean, listen, if that was my kid, I'm like, Anne, you gotta convince otherwise. Like, I don't care what you have to say to convince this kid, but like, you will be a victim in jail. Like, you could twist the words a lot.
That's true.
Plea, I think, was a safe bet.
I agree with that.
No, what do you?
He could have gone to jail
for
so
30
much
years
longer.
because
I don't think he even knows what he signed up for.
I don't think so either.
What would you have done?
Fathom
Would you
what's
have
going to go on
fought?
in jail.
I would have listened to those around
you
me.
better not take your chances. You're black, so you better take the plea deal because you're definitely going to jail.
Yeah,
I would-
with it, okay? For a minute, I forgot.
This is where Nick and I are like, no comment.
Guys, we're just
No,
gonna lighten up the mood here
No,
for
let me
this
tell you,
episode.
I don't think I truly believe that taking the plea deal in this specific case, in this scenario, I think that you are getting off worse than he would make out in trial.
I
And
disagree.
when your advisors, when your mother and lawyer around you are advising you through, and they both were sort of against a plea deal, listen to them. You don't know this.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
because
do.
he's being charged as an adult. The sentence is outrageously long.
Yeah, 30 years, right? Was
And
it-
like,
That's worst case scenario.
but Nick, he's going to jail. He's only going to jail for 10 years. Nothing. What are the
Only
chances
10
that he would?
years.
But I mean, right? Of course, that's
Yeah.
a long time. But what
Yeah.
are the chances that he would have won that case? He
Yeah.
shot the kid.
he killed
True.
somebody.
True.
Yeah.
But now that
But
they have
they-
this
I
evidence,
love
That's what
Taylor.
I'm
I
saying.
love
But
Taylor.
No,
I
I
should've
understand what
taken
Nick
the
is
plea.
saying. They have all this evidence. They could have built a case now. So now they have evidence that Wes did harass him, beat him up. That's kind of, I mean, they could have started building some type
Yeah.
of case. You just never.
And I
would have
agree with
known.
you, but I know the law is not as smart as I am.
And I was going to say, and the law might not be as smart as I am either, but I'm kidding, kind of. But
Look,
kind of kidding. But if someone said, okay, Wes was harassing Taylor, and then 5 weeks later Taylor kills him, I, as a prosecutor, would have said this is premeditated. He had been thinking about this for so long. So this wasn't just, I came to the school and had a confrontation with Wes and accidentally killed him. I would have said this has been ongoing harassment, ongoing bullying. I've been thinking about it. All these signs and communications
But does
make
that
it
make it
seem
better?
premeditated.
Of the harassment. He was raped at the party. They were talking about
Maybe.
all this stuff. I'm saying they could have had a case.
Thank you.
Is what I'm saying.
And we're right. At the end of the day, we are right and they're wrong. It doesn't matter.
Disagree.
We'll move on.
Disagree.
You're missing something that I'm saying here.
What?
I don't disagree with you. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about the law. Like, I agree that Taylor should not go to jail for this, or at least not go.
He killed somebody. Yes, he should go to jail.
Hang on.
Yeah, keep
He
going.
should go to jail. He shouldn't maybe go to jail for 30 years. I don't think
Okay.
he should be tried as an adult. I can agree with that. What I'm saying is I don't think the law will say he's say he's innocent, rather.
I have to say though, in recent, and this is based off a lot of TV shows, aka the O.J. Simpson story. I'm watching that show, and as factual as it is, I'm realizing that in a case, it's not always about if you did it or if you didn't. It's about what they can prove.
the
And
facts
yes,
are,
and
yeah.
if they
So how is this
prove,
poor family going to prove anything?
because what I'm saying is if they prove the different things, like he was jumped, and if they prove that he does have mental illness, his sentence could be going down into an asylum or something
There was
like
a chance,
that.
is what we're saying.
There's a chance, and I would have went or advised towards the chance.
That's
That's it.
interesting. The asylum. Is that what they call them still these days?
What do they call it?
No, I just
mental
think-
The mental
institution, the
institution,
hospital of mental illness.
The loony bin.
No,
That's like an old person saying
the
that.
loony bin is. An old
I would
person
never
thing.
call it a loony bin.
I may, by accident.
Because
Like, oh.
mental health is like something.
Mental-
Oh, no, but it's
Mental health,
serious.
yeah.
And that's something that could have worked in his favor.
Yeah.
That he was a boy under distress. He was going through a lot. They beat him up. He was raped. He was talked about. He didn't have any friends. He switched schools. They could have built a case. Was all I was saying. But,
Let's talk about Steph telling Dan she told Ann about the drugs.
He wanted to
and
slap
Dan was
her.
mad.
Yeah.
Understandably so.
Dan talks to Leslie a little later on in the episode
yeah.
and says, "You won," which is so funny because I think him saying that was so fit. It's exactly what Leslie should have been told, because all Leslie wants to do is win.
Yeah.
Even though she thinks she lost, Dan said, "No, you won." And I just thought that was somebody putting Leslie in their place for once.
I thought it was interesting that Dan sat on those papers for a while. Such a great guy, but you sat on this evidence that you were withholding. Somebody dragged Dan's butt off to jail too.
Why?
Obstruction of evidence. He was sitting on
Obstruction. He put that evidence together. Maybe it took a few days to put together.
Stop. He was sitting on it to a good chance. I hate the thing that he had with Leslie. It wasn't about y'all. It's not about you, Dan. It's not about Leslie. This was about the kids. And they switched this mess around so much to make it about the parents. And at the end, the only one who really got it was Terry. She sat down with Kevin. She was the only one who was like, damn, I really get this. I'm listening to you now. All the stuff has come to fold. And they just switched all of this around and took it away from the children. It was disgusting.
See, I think that Dan's character grew to start focusing more on the kids than on himself. That I really do believe.
This was a game to him. This was.
I don't think so.
Leslie.
To her,
what did he say to Leslie? What did he say to Leslie?
What,
outside?
that you won? Or
no, outside.
With Shine.
He was like, I knew who I was going after. He said something about when she was talking about, really? This is what you were talking about? Everything else going on?
They treat it like a game of chess.
Yeah,
but I think they were conditioned that way because at the beginning he didn't until he saw that he was in a game, and if he kept playing it the way he was playing it, honest and real. I understand that, but Leslie was making it that way when she sets up these interviews for him, and finally he said, what did he say? I'm patient.
I'm kind or something. I'm a trusting guy.
But I'm not dumb. And I think he clicked onto it and realized, okay, shit, I gotta play your game to win.
But y'all want to put Dan up on this pedestal.
No.
I'm not putting him on a pedestal, but I think he did step up his game from the beginning.
And I think that Dan started off really shady. Like, I thought he was Chester the child molester.
You did.
I did. I really did. I thought he was a potential.
When he was videoing his daughter. Still weird.
Yeah, that was very.
Chester
the child molester?
Never heard of him.
Eric,
Chester.
I have to shake my head at you.
You know Chester, don't you?
I don't know Chester.
Are you guys serious?
Well, I mean, should we know who Chester is?
I mean, like,
you don't have to talk about it.
Okay, well, I mean, he wasn't.
No, I don't
He's
know.
like he's a fictitious like the guy.
It's like
I thought maybe he lived in your neighborhood.
No. He's like the guy who rides around the milk van, like Chester the child molester. Okay, whatever. So
stay away.
Dan, I think, started off very shady, very seedy, and yes, he was playing a chess game with Leslie for sure. But that was a part of his professional life. He had to play that chess game with Leslie to maintain his to maintain his status.
Or he would have been steamrolled by Leslie.
What's
the outcome? You're paying so much attention to Leslie. Look at your daughter. Your daughter's in jail. You should have been paying attention to your daughter.
What do you have against him?
I
think he started to pay attention. I think he started paying attention to Becca eventually. Like, it took maybe 5 episodes.
In your household, did your parents know everything you were doing? My mom, I couldn't have missed a step. My mom
let me tell you,
3 kids.
My parents thought they knew everything we were doing, and they were pretty strict.
Yeah.
But there were some things that I was doing they didn't know. Like,
but selling drugs.
I wasn't selling drugs.
That's what I'm saying. If he was more focused on Becca.
But in my household, some of the things that I was doing that I was sneaking to get away with. They would have thought this is as bad as selling drugs in my house.
It's true. His daughter was selling drugs. Did nobody catch that Steph's Oxycontin was
gone,
missing?
Yeah.
Well, she probably has so many.
But you have a prescription. Wouldn't you would realize? Maybe he is not responsible for knowing that her oxy.
There's so much blame.
I'm sorry, but you guys aren't being realistic because listen.
I think I'm on your side.
Because think about all the people that you know who use prescription drugs. Some people who use prescription drugs have tons and tons and tons of drugs in their house, and they don't even really know. No one keeps count of how many pills they have in their house.
Checking it
you
up
have kids in your house.
You would, and you have a drug like that.
Easier said than done.
I agree.
My mom took my Oxycontin away after I cried about Anderson Cooper and said, "Don't you think you're going to sell this?" I was like, "I didn't think about that, but you just put an idea in my mind." But I'm glad I didn't because guess what? That I could have been in American Crime.
Could have been Becca.
I could have been Becca. Anyway, I wish I was a cheerleader. That'd be fun. All right, Ann and Taylor. Ann tells Taylor about the security breach and says it will help at trial. Might just put him in a mental institution. And apparently he is. You know what? I scribbled some notes that I can't really read, so I'm going to try to decipher those. But let's see, 5 years in prison because adult if he pleads guilty. But no, it was 10 years in prison. Yeah.
No, it could have been 5 years, but 5 years if the best case scenario would have been like 5 years and 5 years on probation of some sort.
So what did he end up getting?
We don't
know.
We don't
Sorry,
know.
let's say he took the plea.
It was 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Okay. And future depends on guy who raped him, is what Taylor says. I go to jail. I'm sorry. I'm reading from the wrong. I see what I'm doing. Okay, sorry about this, guys. Future depends on the guy who raped him. Doesn't want to be the victim anymore. That's what you said before. I get that. I do. I think he's spent so much of his time being the victim in this situation, and I think he just wants a normal life, or as normal of a life as he's going to be able to get.
But does he think 10 years in jail is a normal life? Anyway, he's not going to have a normal life. So fight your ass off. Do whatever you have to do. That's why I want Ann to shake him a little bit. Like, wake up. Do you realize? I mean, I honestly believe he would be okay with 10 years in jail. In his head, like that, he would be
too. If I killed somebody, I would be okay with 10 years in jail.
I think I agree.
I mean, come on, like 10 years in jail for taking a life. Listen, that's kind of getting off scot-free a little bit.
He's gonna get out by the time he's
27. He can go get a license, get a job, work at Chipotle.
He can have a life.
I don't know if Chipotle will be around.
I don't know. Does anyone think he did it for Ann? Because throughout the whole whole season, that's all he said.
He did say, was it the beginning of this episode when he said it's about my mom? Like, if I wasn't born, then my mom wouldn't have to deal with all this stuff.
I mean, he told her, he was like, I just need to go to jail, Mom. It's over. And poor Ann. She was still trying to hold on to some hope.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Eric. Eric says Wes said any fag will do. Asked to repeat all this information in court, right? So this is why I was shocked earlier when we were talking about Eric not having to be at court, because he was asked, like, hey, all this stuff you're telling me, say it in court.
Yeah.
Like, say that Wes said this about you. Say any fag will do. Or say that Wes said any fag will do. I'm sorry for repeating that word so many times. It's so ugly, but I think it's important to use the actual word here. And I just thought, like, okay, Eric is in a really interesting position because he had Taylor go to the location where he got beat up, yes?
Yeah, and do you feel like he's acting so oblivious?
Yes.
Who, Eric is?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like what did you think was gonna happen when you made that phone call? He's acting all like, oh my God, I can't believe you.
Yeah.
Wait,
dude, you made the call.
Wait, about him setting up the beating up of Taylor.
Yeah, he thought they were going to talk it out.
Yeah, like what did he really think was happening?
That's a good point.
Or was he saving his own ass and being like, okay, if they don't want, as long as they don't touch me, like go do that?
Did we ever see?
Either way.
Did we ever see Eric say, "Go beat Taylor's ass"?
No, but he was in the room making the phone call with all of them next to him.
What were they talking about before he called him? They had to talk about something. What they were going to
like, hey, bro, you got his number? Need it? No, they were probably like, call him.
I don't believe that Eric didn't know.
Right,
Yeah.
same.
I really thought when those text messages were exchanged between Taylor and Eric that night he got beat up, I really thought that they were texting to try to reconcile. That's what I was thinking as they were texting, and of course
Who reconciles with the rapist?
Well, how do we know? How do we know he was raped?
I mean, Taylor to the end has stuck to his
and
story,
Eric to the end
saying-
has said that he didn't rape him.
It's a good point.
So I really thought.
I think he was, but we don't know.
And see, everybody here is Team Taylor. I'm not saying I'm Team Eric particularly, but my note was when Eric said, I can't even find it quick enough. I'm getting so upset with everybody in this room.
No. I'm not Team Taylor.
Yeah,
I'm not Team Eric.
He's Team Taylor.
I'm not.
Eric,
I just feel for both of them in different
Kind
ways.
of Team Taylor. I'm gonna own it. I'm not against Eric, but I do feel a lot of sympathy for Taylor.
And Eric said when somebody says rape, like no one, you don't hear anything else after that. And
Yes.
I feel like the consensus has been that Taylor was the victim. And so again, back to those text messages, I really thought to myself, because they had a flirty relationship. They were texting on the bleachers. He was watching them basketball practice. I really thought they were going to meet up to reconcile. And then the guys got all riled up because Kevin got them riled up in the restaurant. And we don't know, like Kevin didn't give the order. Eric didn't give the order. We never saw either of them give an order to go beat
But
Taylor
Eric
up.
wasn't going to meet him. Eric was telling him to come meet, but he didn't have any intention to meet him.
Going. So what did he think was going to happen? A group of guys were going to go in his place
And reconcile for him?
You are right. We do not know for certain. We don't know if Eric raped him. We don't know if Eric.
We know for sure. Oh, no,
We
on
don't
that
know if,
case.
we don't know if Eric raped him. We don't know if Eric set Taylor up.
We do know.
Well, we don't.
We don't
because
know.
He might not have known that it was a setup.
Sure. He
Technically-
could be that dumb.
Okay.
But also, we do know that he was lying. I'm sorry. We do know that was. He did know it was a setup. I should say.
Okay, yeah, but they didn't know exactly what would happen.
We don't know if he knew it was a My chair keeps sinking. If it was a beat up setup.
Sure.
Really? But he said I had to save myself. He didn't know that?
They were looking for one.
Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna buy it.
I agree
I'll
with you.
listen.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you holding them down to the end. I appreciate it.
But I
honestly
the
don't.
reason I'm saying this is because I think it's important that we don't know, because I think it allows each and every viewer to make up their
Absolutely.
own mind. And if people on YouTube are going to come for us, that's fine.
Come for me.
But just know I would never come for a person who has a different opinion because we don't know.
We
the
don't
correct
know.
answer.
And this is kind of jumping to the Marshall story. Like, Chris, yes, I think that, and this, I'm going to try to tie this in, but I think that Chris definitely got ambushed by the board. Principal Dixon got, but I also think the lesson there was get past your own biases and try to look at things from different perspectives. Like, he kind of ignored Evie or Evie, whatever her name is, and yeah, she didn't go to him. Yeah, he didn't have the full story, but he didn't even see past his own biases to even try to attempt to get the full story, which takes me back to what we're all arguing about. You have your bias because you're Team Taylor. I have my bias because Eric and I have the same name. Whatever my bias is, and so
Now it comes out. Understand.
you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think the point is to try to get past your biases, and you can still be Team Taylor. I can still be Team Eric. I'm not really Team Eric. I don't know, but I just think that we get so stuck in what we want to believe without even having all the facts.
I completely
That's
agree
all I'm
with
trying
you.
to say.
I tweeted right before we recorded.
It was a great tweet,
Life
by the way.
is messy, and this show shows that perfectly.
It does.
I'm not going to say I'm Team Taylor. I'm not going to say I'm Team Eric, because that is too black and white, and it would be doing a disservice to Kirk Moore and all the other writers
Kirk.
on this show to say, oh, we can have teams. This is not Twilight. This is messy.
we know the same
Team Messy, Team Petty.
I don't know.
You know what
that
I'm
whole
saying?
Marshall story, though.
Let's talk about
What
it.
did you? Yeah. What did you? What was your? What do you think overall?
I was like, that whole thing was a joke. The way they ambushed him. Honestly, he made a simple mistake that a human being would make.
Yes.
I don't even know if you could honestly just put it all saying that he couldn't look past his bias. He saw a kid getting beat up. And with all the stuff going on in that school, he was like, there was one kid, to me it's still the facts. There was one kid beaten up by 3. Yes, he didn't have all the facts that this kid had touched on Evie, but it was still one kid getting
Right,
beat
that's a separate issue.
That's not okay to beat up on a kid because he did something.
Well,
you can't beat up people in school anyway.
Well, hang on.
Take that shit outside.
So let's break this down.
This ain't
Here's
no
the series of
jungle
events
gym.
according to some of the people who were there. The black student touched Evie, or sexually harassed her.
Okay.
Then a Hispanic student came to the aid of Evie by beating up the black student. That is the story.
When is it
Gotcha.
ever okay to fight in school, number one?
It is not, but when is
you're
it
not
okay
happy
to
about
touch a girl
something?
in an
It's
inappropriate
not.
way?
But for them to thought that they weren't going to get any type of chastisement for what they did, to me, just blows my mind. You can't fight in school.
I wish they had all gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
But I don't think Dixon had all the information.
Right, he didn't.
Why didn't? Now the question is why?
Exactly.
Right. Was it because of a fault of his own, or was it just? I mean, I believe. Would you ever have stood up there and made that statement that he made when he was convinced to read that he? Oh, my bias.
yeah.
I would have absolutely never.
Yeah, no.
Because he's going to cost the school either way if he takes the
Whatever,
severance,
get
or
that
if he-
money. I would have got that money.
Like,
Okay,
yeah.
please, 'cause y'all.
Yeah, but will
You
he
would've
ever
left.
be able to get
no,
a job?
they were on some BS.
Oh, they wanted him out.
They wanted him out. Yeah.
That was what that was. They wanted him
They
out.
did want him out, but just because they wanted him out does not mean that he could not have done some things differently. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
What do you wish he had done?
At which time? At what point? In the board meeting?
Yes.
Excuse me. In the board meeting, I think I'm gonna choke now. Hold on. In the board meeting, I wish I have some water down here. I'm okay. I'm glad that he did what he did. I'm glad that he said what he said, because I think that Dixon thought he was doing the honorable, humble thing. He has been trying to fight for these kids to get whatever he's been. I don't really know what he's been fighting for, but he's been fighting for the kids.
He's been fighting. We don't know what. Yeah.
Food, whatever. He's been fighting for the kids. So I think him reading that statement was him practicing humility and being, trying to be the bigger person, with the hopes that being the bigger person would help him salvage his job. But it backfired on him. So
Massively.
But I'm like, my question was with the council, what were they upset with? the fact that the whole Taylor situation, or was it the Evie situation? It wasn't made clear. It was
No,
like,
they wanted
him out.
They wanted him out no matter. I think they wouldn't have even brought up the Taylor situation if the fight got him out.
It was political.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like-
so they should have been real with it, is what
Well,
I'm saying.
Right.
but you can't be like, we don't want you here because you're a black man trying to make
That
change.
wasted his time, and he should have not read. That's why I'm saying he should have not read.
He should have taken the
He should have
money,
been
man.
kept real.
Well, he's gonna take. He signed the paper. Remember, he signed the
After
paper.
He talked to Evie. Evie's like,
So I think he took the
Yeah,
money
she's
and
like,
ran.
listen, sometimes you gotta think about yourself.
Yeah,
No.
$75,000 is not really a lot for a grown man if you have like a family.
And will he
Right.
ever be able to get a job again in that same after
don't
that?
know.
I doubt it.
My overwhelming thought at the end of this series is that everyone needs to be replaced. The students need to go and graduate and get on with their lives and hopefully be able to recover from this traumatic event. And the administration and the teachers need to be replaced, or else this drama is going to linger through that school district for the rest of time.
Yeah, but you know what? I agree, but again, I think it's one of those situations where I don't think cutting the fat, if you will, you know what I mean, like cutting up. I don't think that would, who's to say another round? I think it's bigger than that. I think it's that these people, even the people involved, need to realize that it's not about your own personal opinions or biases. It's about literally just sitting through and hearing everyone and being able to see a situation from all sides. And that, I think, translates. It's impossible at this point, I feel. It's really hard for a lot of people to ever do.
Yeah, from what you said, you just hit on something with the Terry situation, how her emails, her personal emails got out, and she was reprimanded for that, asked to leave and whatever. And she was like, but these were my personal emails. These were my personal thoughts that should have not went out. But these are people's biases, even if they don't get out. This is how people, just like the real case where they were saying about Michelle Obama was a chimpanzee, and they were talking about Obama. And these were the head people saying these, but this was their mentality. That's what people couldn't get over. Like these
Who
are
called
the,
her a chimpanzee?
it was like
A lot of people call Michelle, but it's
It
ridiculous.
was like
What
the
was
head
the-
of like
which person? I don't know.
yeah, it was like the head of personnel for like the judicial system. It was
my
like
God.
Yeah.
top people, but this was the way that they were thinking. They thought of African Americans, even the most powerful ones,
As a monkey.
as
As the-
animals.
And if these
how do you
powerful
fight
people are
that?
saying these things, what about the rest of us?
Exactly.
Yeah.
These
How do you fight
well-educated
that?
people are
Yeah,
saying
what about
that.
the rest of us?
I think
And
the
that's
only
what
way
Terry
to
was
fight
touching
that
on.
is acknowledgement.
True.
Acknowledgement that everyone's
agree.
going to carry their own biases, but it's just being aware and willing to open up the right, you know what I mean, and see it from, I don't know. It gets really like, as
Well-
people would say, whatever. Yeah.
I'll also say, and I've said this throughout the season, like there are things I have done in my past that are not as bad as selling OxyContin or killing somebody or raping somebody. I've never done those three things. However, I have done things that could have ended poorly.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I
think
am
we all- yeah.
so glad that I got out of high school with my hands clean. Because these kids, and I really do think at the end of the day, it's about the kids. These kids were fucked from the beginning, from episode 1.
With the team
With
they
the-
have, the
but
parental.
I want to piggyback on that too. You say that you're glad you got out of high school scot-free without killing anyone or selling drugs or going to jail or whatever. But just fast forward to present day, Regina King's character got caught up for those text messages or emails or whatever. So yeah, you might get out of high school without killing someone or selling drugs or getting arrested. But fast forward to when you're 45 and have a son in high school, and some emails that you sent privately can still fuck your world up.
It's true.
So
but the day I turned 18, I remember my parents saying, "Yo, you're an adult." My parents are both lawyers. "Yo, you're an adult. You are going to be tried as an adult if anything goes wrong. So just know that."
just chill.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting to me because there's a difference between children, and I'm calling them children. Of course, they're not technically children, but they're not adults yet legally. Children are, and Kevin, I guess, isn't a child because he is over 18.
Right.
Children are totally screwed over if you have adults in their life who behave the way the adults in this show acted, and I think everybody acted shamefully at one time or another.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I think I honestly, this is a pessimistic thing, but I honestly think in today's society, almost every kid has someone like that in their lives of some sort, and that's why we see the same thing. I wonder how these kids that were involved, I mean, in imaginary world, would then go and parent. Would they do things differently? Would they be even worse? I don't know. But would this in situation change that?
Right.
I'm a huge believer everything happens for a reason, though. I would hope that they would learn something from this.
I hope they learn something positive and not like go the opposite
Yeah, but
way.
what happens if Kevin goes off to college and he meets a gay kid and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna stay away from you because I met these gay kids in high school and they caused my life to become a living hell. Honestly, I think it could go either way.
I mean, you're a product of what you live through, and that's just life. I mean, shit, like you said, life is messy. You just got to deal with it, find a way to deal with it.
I do want to say this though. I know we've ragged on the parents the entire season. You know, I've been like the hugest advocate of this is bad parenting, but you know, we only really saw the worst of the parents, and the fact that I don't know. I just think that all of our parents have flaws. Every parent has flaws, and you were talking about like, did my parents know everything that I was doing? You know, they tried their best, but let me tell you, there were some things that I was doing they didn't know about. Mom, there were some things I was doing you didn't know about. You know, so if someone said, you know, Edith, I saw Erica doing this at Walmart. Would someone then look at my mom and say she's a bad parent because Erica was at Walmart doing donuts in the parking lot at 1 o'clock in the morning?
No,
you know,
it takes a community to raise children.
Yeah,
and that's helping your mother. That's
true.
Not like being
but
like.
Someone could still judge my mom off of something, off of
similar
one
to how
or
we
two. Like
looked
we're
at
judging
Becca's
Dan
dad.
and we're judging
But
Steph.
they weren't doing anything. No community. Everybody was fucked.
If you think your child is perfect, then you're a terrible parent.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fair.
My parents were always, and I was honestly, I was a relatively good kid. I didn't really do much, but they were like checking up on me as if I was like this terrible kid. And I guess in hindsight, that's good, but like shit,
I was a good kid.
I mean, what did I do? I didn't do much. Yeah.
These devils.
Come on, guys.
I was a good kid too, by the way.
Doing donuts in the Walmart parking lot at 1 a.m.
We don't have much time. I just want to make sure we cover a couple more points. We had Kevin being told to tell the truth by his mom and to stay quiet by his dad. I thought that was
interesting. And then
interesting.
the lawyer kept it. Ooh.
Terry also was in trouble for emails. We hit on that. But then she said, listen, people of color live in a different world, and a white man will never know the struggles, which I thought was like a really interesting way to button her character at the end of the season. Like, it sort of explains where she came from and what set up all the things she's done this season.
Yeah, she what's her name? Terry has been saying that from the beginning, and she talked about I think when Kevin first got in trouble and talked about, you know, how you handle girls. Like her whole characters, themes, and topics and conversations have been based around raising a black son in America. So I thought that was consistent with everything that with her actions throughout the entire series. And you know, as a professional, she probably should not have sent those emails. You know, think about the Donald Sterling thing with the Clippers. He was saying all those things about black people and black women, and he lost his team. I mean, once you reached like a certain stature, you had to kind of like watch what you put in writing. So she was stupid for that. But she's right. I mean, black people and people of color just deal with stuff that white people don't have to deal with.
I just think it really, by the end, it just showed everything she was carrying, you know, throughout this whole season. You could tell, like, by the end, you could tell she was carrying this load on her.
Yeah.
And she said it at the end. And, you know, it's funny, a woman came up to me at Trader Joe's today, and she was just like, I'm just going to pray for you, sister. Because I mean, we just got to start praying for each other. And I just thought, I smiled about that because I'm like, it's not about a hate thing. Like, this is a reality of what's going on. It's not about people making up racism and stuff like that. This is what's going on, and we just need to start getting serious about it and you know, pushing it to a more positive side. And I just thought it was nice that a stranger would just want to come up and say, I'm just going to pray for you.
Maybe she was praying that your debit card would go through.
It's not funny. It's really,
I agree. It's just the acknowledgement to a certain point. I loved that last scene. Let me tell you, that was one of my favorite out of all the storylines. The way they wrapped their storyline, sitting on the steps, and he said, and he went back to the he said, you know, Dad taught me you do the best with what you have, and like, let's make the best. I thought that was, I don't know, I was very happy with that. Although it was a little like, you know, Full Housey, like, you know, campy-ish, but I was happy with it.
It was cute.
We have Sebastian. He calls a guy named Evans, I guess, and says,
Let me tell
it's
you.
my project and lay off this.
I loved a lot about this show.
You can't. And then this guy was filming him and his daughters and was like, guess what? The internet's everybody's, so go screw yourself.
Like, he gets on my nerves. But you know what? Someone did tell me a couple of years ago to put tape, like electric tape, over every screen in your house. Like over
every camera.
Over every camera. Like, so your laptop, well, probably that too, but definitely your laptop and your desktop. Oh, like over the webcam, if you have like a little standalone webcam, cover that shit up too. So that's what I've been told. I don't do it anymore.
I don't do it either, but I have heard that there's like an actual thing where like hackers do and they just watch,
that
which is
sick.
But
It's almost.
it could be entertaining. It could be like Periscope.
That shit ain't Periscope if you don't know that they're watching.
Whoa.
This world.
Okay. So now I'm gonna go vomit because I feel so sick.
Whose Periscopes you watching?
Finally, Leslie got laid off.
Finally.
The way she worked that before she got laid up, the way she worked that board for everyone to be like, yeah, let's dissolve, let's all. I don't understand how she got the power to do that. When she was like, I think this whole board should dissolve and I should stay.
It was a part of their constitution.
Out of the bylaws or something.
But I thought it was
baffled
interesting.
at that.
Did you guys know that she was going to have to leave?
I didn't know anything.
So the new
by this
board
episode, I was like,
made her leave. Is that right?
Yeah, the guy, or who wasn't it? The mayor, the interim position, who was one guy I think that was taking over until they found a new board, and I think he was like, yeah, we
Calderon.
need to,
Wasn't that Tony from last season?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did he have any? Do we see him at the beginning of this season or no? I'm like,
so.
What did I know?
No,
And then I'm like,
he
maybe
was.
it's
We
just
saw him
first
one
season.
time during
We
the,
did?
Did we?
Yeah, and there was an episode. I was like, damn, they don't bring him back.
I remember.
I don't remember that either. You guys, let's wrap things up.
No!
We can talk about
Wow. Oh my
either make a
God.
prediction or like your final thoughts on the season. Not prediction, but well, I guess prediction. Yeah, because
We left on.
we left.
Okay.
ending.
This is
All right.
fun.
So Erica, you got anything to say?
Can I get my prediction music and the prediction thing? Okay, maybe not. Okay. There it is. I predict
Your AfterBuzz TV.
that we will never know. That's all I got.
That's a damn. We could talk to Kirk. Maybe he'll tell us what really
Oh
happened.
yeah. No, I predict that what's his name? Taylor will take the plea deal, and Eric is gonna ride out into the sunset with another shady character from Gay Tinder. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's
It
Gay
sounds
Tinder. Download
sort
it
of-
now, kids.
I don't know. I mean,
Sure, I know what you mean.
I don't mean that. Whatever. Go. Just go.
I honestly think if we're first looking at those two, for some reason when she was like, do you accept, when she's talking to Taylor, she's like, do you accept this? Do you know this? Are you aware of this? He was like, yes, yes, yes. And then she said, like, finally, you can't go back. Do you accept or reject? And I thought there was a change in his eyes. I saw a change in his eyes. I would infer that maybe he gets cold feet and finally realize the word guilty, like, what does it mean to him? I think there was a change in his eyes.
Interesting. I'm gonna go rewatch.
Yeah, check it out.
My prediction is that the guilt is eating Eric up. That's
Yeah.
the reason why I thought that he.
Oh my
was
God, his
guilty.
brother, we
He's
forgot
going.
that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the whole thing and stuff. I think it's gonna get to him, and he's just gonna go right down that path.
You
to-
do.
Destruction.
I believe Eric raped Taylor.
That's
I believe Taylor will take the plea deal, and I believe Eric will not get in the car. And
I don't think
try
he'll
to
get in the
turn
car
his
either.
life around.
Oh.
I think he will turn his life around. I think his brother talking to him at the table.
Oh, yeah.
I think him saying, I want to get back to normal. I think he now has enough support inside
Recognizing how much of a mess his
point.
family
That's
is.
to
and putting
actually
into
then
it.
elevate. He's cut. They
so nothing
cut.
happens to Eric. He just walks off into the sunset.
Well, if you-
I just don't think there's enough evidence.
There's not enough
to put him in
evidence.
jail.
That's a
But I think personal guilt wise, I think if he did it, I think he would carry something with him, and that would
And that's why,
forever.
yeah.
And I
That's
think
not
sometimes
enough.
that could be
That's
worse.
not enough.
No, that's not enough. But I do think
my
that
mind.
could be worse sometimes.
That's true.
Than what could have happened. If he went up and he said this in court, and I think him living with it, that's almost the worst in anything.
Like
Anything
OJ.
you do, living with your consequences
OJ
is the
seemed
worst
like he
first
was
thing.
fine.
OJ, if he did it, then his actions after the fact.
He did it.
He wrote a
After
book
watching
saying,
this,
"If I
after
did
watching
it."
my OJ Simpson American, ooh, he did it.
He's acting like a guilty person because he can't get over the guilt.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying.
Well, we should go do American Crime Story. They're about halfway through the season. Cool. Do you do it?
No.
Oh, all right. You guys, I don't know what to say. I'm so sad to say goodbye to you all. It's
Yeah.
been a great season. The fans have been incredible. We've had some great discussions, some great interviews with writer Kirk Moore and actor Trevor Jackson.
Yes.
I think it was a success. What do you guys think?
I agree.
great.
Thank you guys
I'm
for
excited
watching
for
and for
next
supporting and for
season.
tweeting us and for sending us direct messages and Aaron and Dave and whoever won the Frankie Grande perfume
Congratulations. Smell good for life.
Oof.
Yeah.
And thank you for all your criticisms, like positive or otherwise.
We
Come
love
at
y'all.
me.
Murder me in my mentions.
All right, you guys, we love you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
My name's Johnny Manganello. You can find me at Johnny Mangs on Twitter and Instagram.
My name is Erica Renee Davis. You can find me on Snapchat, Periscope, Twitter, and on Instagram at Erica Renee D.
My name is Nicholas Grava. You can follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter at Nicholas Grava.
Hi, I'm Erica Jaye Green. You can find me on all social media. That's Erica Jaye Green.
All right, you guys. Until next season. Mwah, goodbye.
Adios.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.